guys, so it is Long Dog Leap Day. It is the Friday the 29th of January, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it is the day that I work on my Pilgrim, my very first start Long Dog sampler, which I am working on. Colour's not quite popping the right colour at the minute. It's not quite this colour, but the silk will be brilliant. This is Mrs. Sadie's Darling silk, and it is just beautiful. Observe my wonderful floss ring is a hair elastic. I'm going to get Robin to make me a nice little thread drop for this, just a single one with one big hole so that I can hang. Like, I've only got 2 hanks of silk, both Mrs. Sadie's, one that I use for Pandemic and one that I use for this. I can show you this in a, this is a little pouch. Anyone remember these? We used to get, glasses cases used to have them. I'm thinking Ort pot. Anyway, it's a little bit of hand English paper pieced patchwork, and it's got my little ball of hydrangea. There's my other silk. That's what I'm doing Pandemic in. That's hydrangea, which is utterly glorious, and because I'm only doing one strand, it comes very, very, very pale, like lace. And that has been chewed by the cat. Anybody see how gross and horrible that bit is? I'm gonna get rid of that bit because the cat's chewed that. It was obviously hanging out of the bag. So there's my other. I've got little balls of this. I've got several little balls of this, and the big piece there that's hanging off this wonderful thread drop. Anyway, that's that. So I'm working on my Pilgrim, because this is my piece that will be, well, I think I've been at it a year now, because I started it just before Leap Day last year, and as I said over again, I had done about this much when the sale started. So since then I've finished the first 4 pages. I'm going to be working on page 6 today. Page 5 here is very busy and requires a lot of counting, so I've got the rest of this page to do here. So I thought I wouldn't work on this bit because there's a lot of counting required there, but on this piece, page 6, which is just under the fox, who's rather marvellous, I've got a little bit of busy stuff here and a little bunny, so I'm going to see if I can find this bunny. So I'm just wondering if everybody splits floss like I do. When I'm taking 2 strands, this is only a 4 strand, so I've already taken 2 strands from it. What I do is I split it into 2 strands, so I've got 2 strands in each hand, like so, and then I simply just run my finger, and that, the bit that's splitting just spirals up and untwists itself. That's a very long piece actually, but that's how I split DMC, anything like that, anything with strands. I just put the number of strands I want on one side and pull my finger through, and then you end up with 1 strand of 2, 2 strands of 2, and then I just let them retwist themselves. If I'm taking 1 strand out, if I'm doing something with 1 strand, I will just pull the 1 strand out. But I've always just split, that's how I've always just split embroidery thread. So, I'm going to get my needle threaded. And I've also heard lots of people constantly talking about the needle sizes. I use the same needles. I bought 2 packs of 25 of these. They're John James. I think they're 26s, and I use them for everything. The only thing I've not managed too well with was the 20 count Ada, which I was using the sulky. I'm using the sulky on, which is my Castle Walls, which is an ink circles pattern that I started. It's the very pale blue, and I'm using the sulky 12 weight, which is actually a little bit too thick for 20 weight, for 20 count Ada. and it's shredding up my sulky dreadfully, and somebody's just used a bigger needle which would help open the hole a bit better. So next time I find that and pull it out, I will try that and try the bigger needle. I've got a couple of bigger needles because I've had a few on kits and things where the needles are a slightly larger size. But generally, as a general rule, whatever I'm stitching with, I use the same needles. They're everywhere. I've generally got a couple stuck in each project. I've got about 15 of them stuck into my temperature tree, because each bobbin has got a threaded needle with it, because I just need to get those done. I need to get those done because I'm already nearly finished my January temperature bookshelf and my poor old temperature tree is currently sitting in August sometime. Have I done over 2 there? I think so. Yeah. So this is 2 over 2. Oh, here comes Eric. He's been snoozling in my room. There goes Eric past me. He's got a thing about wrappers at the moment, is Eric. He's also molted out his coat. He got quite a rough winter coat. And because he's an inside cat, because he's a bit thick and we daren't let him outside because we have got a road with a 30-mile-an-hour limit outside. Not that anyone does 30 miles an hour on it. We've decided he's an inside cat. He will go to the open door and he'll stick his head out and look, you know, when the cat looks really like it's going to really spook, he does that. But he doesn't go out. Robin's taken him out the back a couple of times and he's apparently been a bit sheepish. That's Flora calling to him now. But he's she's chasing the cat now. I'm recording. You pull my door to so he's not a bad boy and go and play with him. You just heard the wrapper. You just need to kick the box. That's it.
Sorry.
See you in a bit. Oh, that took her forever. He's molted out his coarse hair. It might just be his winter coat, and he is like super plush. You know, when you get a brand new teddy bear for one of your kids and it's like the softest brand new plushest fur you've ever come across, he's molted out to that. So he's very cozy and cuddly at the moment, but he's got a thing. He's playing a game with us now, Flora and me, not really anybody else, where he retrieves. And if you get a crisp packet, I don't know if everybody does it, I've always tied my crisp packets into knots. When I finished a packet of crisps, you get the packet and you fold it up into a long slim thing, and then you tie it in a knot, so you end up with a little plastic knot basically. Well, if you sit it on the palm of your hand and you flick it, oh, now next doors are chopping wood. That's super fun. He'll chase it, collect it and bring it back to you, literally just like a dog. I have a video of him doing it, but you really can just see the horrific messy hoard that I live in, and I'm not quite ready to show you all that. Have I just put one too many? Right, I need to concentrate just a little bit more because I have just totally put that stitch in wrong and put, oh no, what am I doing? I'm trying to do it with the pattern over to one side. Oh, it's alright, I can see what I've done. Now, I chose to do this with a little stitch with me because I'm using a paper pattern for my Pilgrim. It was before I genuinely knew that PDFs existed. Weirdly enough, I'd looked on her website over and over again and chosen to do Pilgrim, but hadn't thought to buy it from the website, you know, from Long Dog website then. And I got it from, I think Lakeside. I bought the paper pattern, somebody's hammering or something outside, so I'm ever so sorry, but we do get noise and life around here. So, and that's my big dog Clay, who is barking because Robin has let him out and left him out in the cold. And Jock's out there too, but you never hear Jock too much. He's much smaller. And he's always much busier and into stuff. Yeah, so my Eric's become a retriever, which is utterly hilarious. It really is. He is such a retriever cat. It really is madness to watch him do it. I can't even get him doing it anywhere else because the whole house is like a bomb site. So I can't like go, oh, I'll do it in the tidy living room, because the tidy living room isn't a tidy living room. The tidy living room is just piles of stuff in the living room as opposed to piles of stuff in my bedroom. It's just how we all are. There's 6 of us in a small house and we all have a lot of stuff. So I'm getting on with this today because this is what I stitched on the 29th. If he doesn't let the dog in soon, the dog's in soon, I'll go and sort them out. Because that's going to drive us all batty if Clay's just going to stand there and bark. He's just barking at the window, trying to get Robin's attention to let him in. Oh, this happens to me all the time as I'm stitching, because I stitch two-handed up and down, up and down. I stitch into my thread. See, my needle won't slide neatly through there. So quite often I have to sort out my thread. It does make it shred a little bit quicker, but I'm just so much faster stitching. Why isn't that pulling through? There we go. I'm such a faster stitcher when I've got my right hand on top and my left hand under. Can't do it the other way around. My left hand is a bit of a one-trick pony that can do the same operation over and over again. I can knit, you know, you obviously knit 2 hands and I sew 2 hands, but it doesn't, if I give it a new job to do, it takes a long time for my brain to convince my left hand to behave itself. It doesn't work terribly well, but all I'm doing is, I've missed my hole, come up the middle. All I'm doing is collecting the needle, turning it round and sending it back up. So I need to go back down that hole. That's generally how I split my threads, is when I go back down a hole because I've caught the wrong hole. There we go. And that's that one. So there we go. Right. So you know, when you think, all right, I'm going to do a stitch with me, I'm going to show me doing some stitching, and I'm going to chatter for a bit. And you know, I can chatter and chatter when I do a floss tube, but I seem to have a lot of prompts and props around me then when I do that. 1, 2 past there, and it's kind of funny when you're just trying to just talk. So yesterday I put up my floss tube number 14, and I mentioned that I had put the Better to See You With into the washing machine, and I will obviously show it on my next floss tube. And instead of just popping it in, I don't know quite how you are supposed to wash them, I assume quite carefully by hand, I shoved it in the washing machine and didn't just stick it on an ordinary wash. I stuck it on a 60-degree wash, which we never use at home unless I'm boil washing, say towels that have been used to wipe down wet dogs, or we've had the washing machine go funny, and you know, when you need to empty the filter and it spills onto the floor and you mop it all up. If I'm mopping up something like that off the floor, I'll boil wash, but I never do more than a 40-degree. So in it went, and I left it for quite a while, and I was a bit nervous, and I went and collected it, and I almost didn't recognise it when I pulled it out of the drum. I pulled it out and gave it a good sort of shake, like you'd shake a sheet. And the good news is every single line on it is gone. All the pre-gridded, you know, I bought pre-gridded fabric, pre-grid lines, they've gone. My goodness me, do they come out well. They've gone, and all my pen marks have also completely gone. And it's also shrunk quite a bit. So all my humming and hawing and trying out 25 count over 1, which I didn't get on well with at all, because it was actually 28 count, and the decision to use 20 count Ada, which took me a long time to think, oh crikey, it's such a huge piece. This thing's the size of my bed. It's not that big anymore. Well, it's still enormous because obviously it's a huge piece, but on closer inspection and a little bit of counting, it's now 22 count Ada, and it is floofy. Right, it is just right here. So I'm just going to mark off the stitches I've just done. So obviously with me using a paper pattern, I am taking a highlighter to said paper pattern. I don't often make working copies because I'm not going to stitch this twice. I'm not going to pass the pattern to anybody. You know, if you're going to love a long dog, you're going to buy the PDF and use Pattern Keeper like everybody else does these days. I know people do use paper patterns. I'm quite happy to use a paper pattern. It just makes it all go a lot slower. But this I already had, and I wasn't going to rebuy it in PDF format to put it into Pattern Keeper when I could buy a different long dog sampler instead, so that I could have a new one. She's put a couple of new ones in. She was naughty, because she is a bit naughty, Julia, and snuck them in to her website to sort of see who would notice. And I haven't been on her website for ages, so I didn't notice. But once people had started to say, is this, how long has this been here? She said, oh yeah, there's a couple of new patterns, just to keep you on your toes. One of them's called Resistance is Futile, which is the best name for a pattern ever. But the one I like, it's called, oh crikey, what's it called? Let's have a little look, see. Oh, it's marvellous, whatever it is. And I really like it because it looks like castles in the air. Right, let's see if I can make this silly thing work. Let's try not to get any glare on it. It's not Silk Browser. Oh, that's my weather. Let's go here. Let's go. Get rid of that. And let's go long dog samplers. No, I don't want them on Amazon. Definitely not. Here we go. Oh my goodness, new for 2021, Legal High. There's a new one. There's a new one I haven't seen ever before. Oh my god, it's huge. 341 by 358. I've not seen that one before. Wow. Samplers, mono. So, Anzac, I'm doing that one. Blue Bouquet, not doing that one. Large. There's Castles, which I have started. And there's Death. I'm planning Death. Dilemma started. Do Different, I like very much. Pistol. There's Game of Forevermore. There's Legal High, brand new. It's expensive because it's new. Leo Rising. Life After Death. Merry Go Round. Monster More. Opus 1. Opus 2. There's Pandemic. Birmingham Found. Birmingham Lost. Arcade, which I do like very much. There's Sacre Coeur. There's my sand. Whoa, what happened there? Oh, have I just clicked on it to... Oh, where did it go? History. History? Where did it go? I must have clicked something. I'm not very good with this tablet. She has snuck in a new one. She's very naughty. Because I follow her on Instagram, so she usually puts up... Sorry if this is making you feel a bit sick. Hopefully you're stitching and not watching me scroll through to where we were. There's Sansui. There's St. Breatham, which I'm not done. Stag Party. There's New Normal, which I'm doing. There's Pilgrim, which is here. There's Temple Prophecy. I've done it again. No thanks! Sorry. just shouted. This is driving me nutty. Don't know why it keeps doing that. I want to find that new one. Samplers. Oh, now what have I done? Dutch, it's not Dutch, it's not Quaker, it's not geometric, it's a mono. Let's try not to get rid of it this time. I keep hitting something that's making my page go away. Sorry about this. I'm going to scroll, 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 scroll. There's New Normal, there's the Pilgrim, Temple's Prophecy, Tyler's Lion. Where's it gone? There's definitely another new one in here. There was definitely another new one. I'm not sure where it's gone. It was really lovely. Oh, there's quilts. There's spangled. I want to do spangled. It's not there. It's not a band sampler. Generic. Is it a generic? It should be. Oh, I love those. No, it should be. It should be in the. Oh, hang on. It might be here. Oh, is she hiding them? Anyway. Long dog samplers are fantastic. These are the big boys, Dutch ones. There it is, high and dry. It was in Dutch. Oh, let's get rid of that. It's a very, very pale one. It's quite hard to see, but I think that looks very like Castles in the Air. So what I want to do is get this one, and I'll do it in the reverse of Castles in the Air, which I'm doing on a teal fabric with the very, very pale silver thread. I'm going to do on a very, very pale silver fabric with the bright teal thread. That's what I'm thinking. If I can match the two together, then they'll be kind of, you know what I mean, back to fronts of each other. Anyway, that was a long distraction for nothing, wasn't it? And there's another one in there as well. So there's 3 new samplers. So she's been very busy. Oh, I've just gone straight up. What happened there? That looks like a dodgiest backstitch known to man. I don't even know what I've done then. Just gone totally in the wrong hole. And now my thread's hanging onto the needle like it's no tomorrow. So, it's a wonderful stitch with me. So far I've done pointless searching. My thread's stuck on my needle. Right. Now my phone's clinking and clanking. Sorry about that. I've not quite got to the point where I make it go quiet while I record. I think that's a bit pro for me. I'm not a pro, as you can clearly see. I've come up totally in the wrong place as well. Right. Now this is what I do with my thread. You'll see I've got not very much left, and I'm still thinking, well, I can get another 3 stitches out of that. I always do, right to the very, very bitter end of any bit of thread, until I can almost not get it through the fabric anymore. And when I think I can get one more stitch in, generally I can't, but I'm still going to have a go. And then I end up having to rethread it and then thread it to pass it back. So I've got almost no thread left. So what I do when I'm working on a Q-snap, flip it over, look at my disgusting back, covered in knots, covered in floofy bits. I'll just run it under, just that couple of stitches, and cut it off with my favourite scissors that totally match Pilgrim, and over we go. Right, so I've done almost nothing. So here's my other piece of thread with the very long end. Where's my needle? There it is. So I've just come from turquoise, and I've got blue one end and turquoise the other. Now I need to come along here, and that bit's blue, so I'm going to, this is the most colour controlling I'll do, is instead of it jarringly just turning the colour there, I'm just going to collect up And how I find where I need to be, see, I've poked my needle through, I'll just click it down till it goes to the hole I want it to be in. And I just need to stitch all the way across that one. Oh, now it's around my needle minder. This is just going fantastically well, isn't it? So, while I've been doing all those hours of stitching last weekend, I listened to some audiobooks. Now, I used to have a subscription to Audible. I paid for it for about 18 months. And in the UK, it's £8 a month, and you get one book credit for that. And then everything was just getting too expensive, so I cancelled anything that was extra. So I cancelled my subscription. Crikey, Amazon makes it hard for you to cancel subscriptions. Anyway, I cancelled the subscription to Audible, and I haven't used it since. The books you've bought are yours, and they're always in your Amazon library, and you can listen to them again, and they're yours to put on and off devices and what have you. I've got quite a lot of the Diana Gabaldon's Outlander books on there, but having got to about the 6th book, it's madness. It's just pure madness, and I can't make head nor tail of it. You know, the first few were so very good. My favourite is Voyager and Drums of Autumn, and after that it just descends into madness. So, you know, it's like catastrophe after catastrophe after catastrophe. So it gets getting more and more far-fetched as it goes along. So I kind of didn't manage to listen to a lot of those, because I used to work from home painting, and I kind of need my eyes for that, like you do with sewing. You know, it's one of those things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one did I just count from? That one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've done that one there. I'll just carry on as I am for a bit. I used to listen to audiobooks a lot, so I don't really want to listen to the books that I've got available to me, and I didn't want to rejoin Audible, so I just put it into YouTube. So I listened first to Jane Austen's Persuasion, which is my favourite Jane Austen by far, and I have to openly admit it's the only Jane Austen I've ever actually read the bona fide book of, is Persuasion. It's my favourite. And then after I'd listened to that, I then watched a film which isn't the BBC adaptation, which is my favourite, which is in several parts. It was a film, so it was condensed down. When you've just listened to the book and then you watch a movie of it, it's almost frustrating at how much they've cut out of it. And you obviously they have to, otherwise it would be, you know, a 20-part series of minutiae of their lives, which is fine in a book. Not so much when they're paying budget out for TV, but it has Rupert Penry-Jones in, who's always worth a look, because he's one of life's very beautiful human beings, isn't he? So that was quite good, and it was a long time ago as well, so he was extremely young in it. So that was a good watch. I enjoyed that. And then I listened to Mansfield Park, which I've only ever seen the Billie Piper, who in the UK she's reasonably famous. She was a wee pop star back in the probably 90s. Had a disastrous marriage to a radio DJ who was then very famous on telly as well. So she's quite well known. But that was that's all I'd ever sort of seen of that. So I listened to the audiobook of that while I was doing my hours and hours and hours of stitching. So that was quite good. And now I've realised that there's loads of audiobooks on YouTube, you know, just for free, and also lots of movies lots of movies on there as well, and sometimes they're good copies of full movies. Sometimes they've got like a different language subtitles on them, which is, you know, great for some people. There was one with English subtitles, and I thought, oh crikey, is it going to be overdubbed? But no, it was just the English version with English subtitles, and I thought, well, that's just fine. Totally can manage watching that, rather than, you know, go into Amazon Prime and pay. I'd always rather buy something on Prime than rent it, because it's always only like £1 more to buy it instead of rent it. So I've discovered that I can watch all sorts of movies on YouTube and all sorts of audiobooks on YouTube, and I'm perfectly happy. But just yesterday and today, I have been watching a really peculiar program, and I think it was from the audiobooks that I've stumbled into them. Right, that's there. Just trying hard not to make a mistake here, because I don't really want to be frogging out silk, because I'll feel the need to keep it all. I have been watching a series which is called, I'm just going to have to call up my telly. Look, I've got a very, very elderly Fire Stick. It's very elderly now. They're called... Oh, he's going to start talking. Stop talking. Stop talking. They're called They Got Away with Murder. It's a series by a guy called Mark John McGuire. They're quite new up. They've had a lot of views, 192,000 views. They Got Away with Murder. And what it is he's going over murder cases from, I think the 1890s was the earliest one. The latest one was 1920 something. And what he does is explains, using, I assume, police records and bits of fill-in. And because I'm not looking up, what I need when I'm watching something, and I like this when I'm watching documentaries as well, is somebody talking to me without the need for me to look up every 5 minutes to see what's going on. Not even every 5 minutes, you know, it's something that you don't have to physically watch. And all this is the chap talking. And he's got a very British, very melodic voice. Actually, he's a good reader. You know, he sounds nice to listen to, and being very descriptive. All right, okay, they're murder cases, and they're people who've got away with it. You know, when they were clearly guilty as sin, and for whatever reason they've not been convicted. But all that's up on the screen are photographs, the stills of the murder trial, the place it happened. He puts in modern Google Street Views to show you the house in which the young lady was bludgeoned, and you know, gives you the full backstory. And then at the end of it, he explains the rest of their lives, because obviously all these people have died themselves. All these murderers who got away with it have all died themselves, because it's all... I said to my boy this morning, I put it on this morning, and it was 1920, and I said, look at that photo, Austin. And I said, that was taken in 1920. I said, how many years ago is that? And he had to think about it for quite a while. It seemed inconceivable to him that that photograph he was looking at on the screen was 100 years old. And then he went, I think I'll go downstairs now. And off he went. So it's really quite interesting. And he's talk, you know, he tells you very detailed information about the cases, and I assume it's just a collaboration of police reports and, you know, released documents and statements from people, and it's so interesting. And that it's like true life crime, but from, you know, 80 to 110 years ago. It's wonderful, because I used to watch back in the day when I first had Maddie and we first got Sky TV. I used to, basically you only really had the normal telly channels and things like Discovery Channel. And because she was a non-sleeper, I think partly it was my fault as well, because I had no experience of having a baby. You know, I used to sit up all night with her, terrified of lying down in case she should fall asleep and you know, fall asleep on me, and I'd be lying in the bed with her asleep, and that was not allowed. And yeah, the co-sleeping thing. Austin still co-sleeps with us most nights, and he's nearly 9, so you can see that went right out of the window. But I was terrified of doing it with Maddie, so I used to sit up and watch endless true crime, you know, modern true crime things. So I do like that sort of thing, and I've not watched it for a very long time. So this is really interesting. I've been really enjoying them, and they, of course, once you're in the algorithm for them, more and more pops up for you to watch. Right, I'm just going to release another strand from here. Same again. So this is a 6 strand, so I'm just going to get 2 of those. I split it up to there, and then simply just running my finger between 4 strands one side, 2 strands the other, and I'll let that do its twizzle, and then I'll just let that just twizzle itself back up to where it wants to be. And I'm using, that's actually about 2 foot long, slightly long for me, but normally I'll cut if I'm cutting a thread of DMC, it'll be shorter than this, but at some point in time I've cut those that long. You can see they're not exact. There's no exact going on here. They're all different lengths, so I'll just use them. I won't put them down on top of the highlighter though. I'll just use them as they come out. So I've got blue here, so I'm just going to jump down to do the edge of this. Now, I don't know what these are. Some people have said they're thistles, some people say they're crowns. I think these look like pomegranates, and they run right through the pattern. No, from here comes on the side, and it's like a pipe, and there's one there, and you come down here through a valve. You can see where my my knowledge is. Through a valve into another pomegranate, and then through another valve down, pomegranate, pomegranate, valve, pomegranate. That's how my brain sees them anyway. I'm not too sure what they're meant to be. Look at that little mouse sitting on the pipe. To me, these are pipes with valves with pomegranates. But there's no... I think long dog samplers are for us to decide. I think she sits there chuckling away at the Facebook groups where people analyse in the minutiae what her motives stand for, and some of them clearly have meaning, and some of them I think are just there just because she needed to fill up a gap with something. You know, there was when she'd done the leaping little muntjac deer, something like that, and there's a squirrel there with a nut, and there was a gap, so she popped a little squirrel on it, a little mousey on it. And similarly here, that to me the fox is here, but equally there's a whale. I see that as a whale's head. If you don't look at the fox there, I can see a whale with a big open mouth, and there's his eye, but of course it's not, it's the fox. There's his front legs and there's his nose. I think there's things in here that we see because that's the way our eyes take them. And I always chuckle at the Facebook pages when people are, you know, discussing in real earnest and arguing with other people because other people see different things, and you just want to put up a message saying, just, you think it's that, you think it's that, you're probably both right. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. But I love the Facebook groups for the long dog samplers, because it's just seeing everybody's different versions and seeing the colours that some people picked. And is that down there? It's starting to annoy me being in the wrong place. So I really like looking at them. I don't know how much I'm doing. Oh, I'm in the shot, sorry. 39 minutes already. Crikey, I suppose I better wrap this up, otherwise it's going to be... I don't know how good this is. I don't even know what I've been talking about. I didn't think I was going to get anywhere, and then turns out I've been 39 minutes talking about I don't know what. So I hope you've been stitching as well. But you can see, sorry, you can see how I get on with my stitching, and I'm going to get quite a bit more of this done today, because I'm on this today, and I've already done a little bit this morning of my e-fairy, my e-mermaid. I took that downstairs with me this morning and started on that, and I've put quite a bit of I didn't do any more mermaid, but I put quite a lot of the letter in, so that's starting to really show up nicely now. And then when I came up the stairs, my feet were perishingly cold. Oh, I ordered a new pair of slippers yesterday. My feet were perishingly cold, so I came back upstairs and evicted the boys from the bed, and so I could essentially get back in and warm my feet up, because today is an unexpected furlough day. It's an unexpected day off. I should be home by now, but I should have been at work this morning. But as I said in my floss tube yesterday, we've run out of work for the minute. Well, we haven't, but everything that is in process, basically, the prep work's done, and they're out. The work is out with the painters being painted, and it won't be till next week that work will start to come back in, and then it can be assembled and finished. So from start to finish, it does take. I mean, a single item could get ordered, and theoretically, even if it needs printing, I can get it done and dusted. I can get the piece of glass, print onto the glass while it bakes. I can make sure the paint's ready, and then when it comes out of the oven, as soon as it's cool enough, because we bake the print onto the glass, as soon as it's cool enough to paint, I can then paint it and then take it through next door and get it assembled. I can do that too, but I generally don't. It's not my specific expertise, but I have been taught how to do it and have done it enough to be competent, you know, which is setting the glass into the lead, and then it's all polished up beautifully, check that it's perfect, and then boxed up, and then it can get sent. So if it's a single item, it can be done same day, but generally if it's a company ordering, you know, with a big order, they'll go out, they'll all get printed together, and they'll go out to the painters, and the painters have about a week to get it done and get it back. So we never give anybody too much so that they can't get it done and get it back in about a week. I think the lead time for orders is about 3 weeks normally. You know, for orders that aren't super small, a lot of the big places, you know, this is when places are running and working. A lot of the big places like Saint-Chapelle in Paris, or somewhere like Strasbourg Cathedral, they'll put in huge orders every now and again, and then there's like a negotiation and an agreement of how much is going to get sent when, and the big orders will generally get split into 2 or 3 consignments, and will get sent, you know, one big pile will get sent, and then the next lot will go out to the painters, and then, because there's only so much we can get done in one go, it's very dependent on how quickly our painters can paint, which is what I used to do at home. Now I just mix all the paint for them and make sure their paint's perfect, so that when they go to paint, they're not struggling with hideous paint that doesn't work, or dead paint that's all speckly, and because the pigment will eventually settle out of the paint. So eventually the paint doesn't work quite as well as it should. So that's what I do. I make sure the paint set's perfect for the painters. Having been a home painter, ooh, I've got an extra stitch in there. I'm not going to frog it out. There should be, that stitch should not be there. But because I've come across and done all of these, I'm not going to take that one out. We've got an extra stitch in here. Never mind. Carry on. It's because I'm thinking about something else. And my pattern. Normally, I'd have the pattern with 2 of my little, you know, I make little tiny needle minders that are basically, or I just use 2 magnets. This is funny, look. Just doing needle minders. Oh no, not this one. Where is it? Doing some needle minders the other day. And my magnets all clipped together as I was gluing them. So I've got, yeah, those two magnets are super glued together. So that's a really strong magnet now. Normally I'd put, you know, my pattern on there with 2 magnets, so that I'm referring very, because it's over here, because I don't want it in shot. Obviously, not that you could stitch Pilgrim from about the quarter page of pattern you can make out, but it's against the rules, isn't it? So yeah, so years and years ago, I had a pair of slippers which were Dunlops. They had cork soles like Birkenstock soles, but the uppers they were like slip-on clogs, and they had a felt upper. Oh, and they were glorious, and I loved them, and I wore them until they literally fell to pieces. And I was a bit silly, because normally when I get something like that I know I'm going to want in my life forever, I'll normally very quickly buy 3 or 4 or 5 pairs. I have in the house a pair of Nike trainers. They're called fly knits, knit flies or something they were. Anyway, they're knitted. They're like trainer socks but with soles on them. Absolutely amazing. I bought 4 pairs of those, and now my children wear them, and Robin tumble-dried a pair of them as well, which killed them. Luckily they were the orange ones and not the turquoise ones that he killed, otherwise I'd have been really unhappy. So I buy lots of pairs, but when I knew my slippers were dying, I went to go and get a new pair, and they'd been discontinued, and they've been sitting in my basket in Amazon with currently unavailable. We don't know when these are coming back into stock on them for probably 10 years. And then yesterday I was sitting on Amazon ordering something else. Oh, what was I getting? Can't even remember. I can remember I needed a new fabric pen to mark out my To Better See You with. And when it gives you suggestions along the bottom, there were Dunlop slippers with the same sole. I saw them straight away and I was like, those are the same sole. So I've ordered a bright purple pair. They don't have the gorgeous felt uppers. I'm not too sure what the upper is. It looked fleecy, like boucle fleecy. So we shall see when they arrive, but I'm very hopeful of insanely cosy, wonderful feet, because I don't do well with slippers because my feet are shaped like hobbit feet. I have unbelievably unattractive feet, female trait through my family line. Think my children have escaped it. I find shoes very, very uncomfortable generally, to the point where I only wear Fly London shoes, and I can't really wear any kind of trainers. I don't fit Skechers. Anybody who wears Skechers and loves Skechers, I envy you. I love Skechers, but I cannot wear them on my feet. They hurt and pinch, and it doesn't matter what size, what shape, what type, they hurt me, and I've tried so many times. So I've got the wrong sort of feet for Skechers, which is very, very annoying, because obviously Skechers hit the UK properly about 7 or 8 years ago, I'd say, and we got factory outlet shops, and my kids have had brilliant pairs of brightly coloured Skechers trainers. My girls were just slightly too big for the sparkly, for the little girly sparkly shoes, which I was quite miffed about, because they're wonderful and they don't make them in bigger sizes. They don't fit me anyway. Yeah, so I'm very optimistic that I'm going to have a wonderful pair of slippers. Should come tomorrow, and we shall see. That's by the by. Yes, I came back upstairs because I was freezing. My feet were like blocks of ice. See, look how much thread I've got left on there. Literally half a stitch's worth. And let's dispatch that. And I just randomly stitch wherever I want to. I'm not a stitch from here and do lines or rows or anything. I'm just random. You'd laugh at my Ort jar. My Ort jar is one of these. Look. Round cheese fruit pastels. Christmas we get sweeties in these cardboard tubes, which I love, because you get loads of sweeties in them, and after Christmas they're reduced down to 50p. So my Ort jar is one of these, and it's taped onto my lamp. It's taped onto the leg of my lamp, so I'm currently filling one up. I've got a couple more of those stashed. I'm not just keeping rubbish. I keep those because I use them for... Sometimes I keep coins in them. Sometimes I keep Orts in them. And when it's full, I'll take it off and I'll dip them out into the bin and I'll carry on. It's just convenient, because what I've been doing, I cut off my Ort and I drop it there. I'll cut my Ort off and I'll drop it, and then I ended up with like a fluffy floorboards. The floorboards are all fluffy from little tiny Orts. So now I've put the thing on my lamp, which is normally where my tripod is, which is right there. That's where I can put them in. I can put them in a receptacle now. So that's that. So I've done a few stitches there. I'll do quite a bit more. I'm going to try and fill this whole area in. This is all solid stitching carrying on from this pattern here. That comes down, goes up to there, and then carries down here, and then there's a little bunny in relief there. But I thought I'd show you what happened to the Best to See You With after I washed it. Bear in mind that yesterday it looked like... Yesterday it was this Ada, this harsh, rigid, pre-gridded with an erasable pen Ada. This exact count yesterday. Now what I've got is this. Look at this. Can you see? It is fluffy and fat, and it just couldn't look more different. It's the same, bought from the same place. It's the same Zweigart base Ada, but look at it. It's floofed up, and yeah, and the grid lines, they really do wash out, as did my hideous pen. Look, no more bright purple hideous pen. It all came out. So the little bit of stitching, that's my thingy, my Christmas start. So there's my little bit of stitching there. I've got coffee on my Q-snaps. No wonder I'm so icky. So that you can see where it's been washed, because there's a line here. That's what I've done this morning. Yes, it's a different colour, but it's also not being washed. So these stitches are floofed up. They're so nice. I filled in all the gaps this morning. This much darker blue, I filled in all the little gaps. So this is complete to my edge here. And then I'm just filling in this bit here. So I have put quite a few stitches in it. That's what I did when I came back up the stairs. And then I thought, oh, it's Leapdog Day. I tell you what, I'll do a stitch with me. So that's what I then did. So look, I can just about make out, with all the white underneath it, I can see there's a line down there, and I can see there's a line across there. But they are the palest of all pale. I can see it goes up here. So that must be the first 100. To there, that must be the first 100, but I can just, and you can't, without all the fabric behind it, I can't see it at all. But with the white behind it, I can just about make out the grid lines. You probably can't at all on the camera. But there's my tiny, tiny, dinky little start, which when my fabric is, sorry, that wide. There's the selvage. Oh, I banged it again. I'm not helping myself at all here. And then it is, ooh, it's machining thread, that big. So it is enormous, and it is going to fit this piece. You can see the border I gave myself. Yes, it has shrunk a bit, but I have 2 inches one way and 1 inch the other. That's the border I have, because that was the cut I could buy. It just fitted in widthways, selvage to selvage. It's going to be, I think I've got about 1.5 inches at the bottom, and I gave myself 1 inch at the top because I didn't want to play chicken at the bottom. I know it fits because I had drawn it on with that stupid pen. That's why I drew it on with the stupid pen, was to make sure it fitted. Anyway, I'm going to do more progress on that, and then yeah, that's me. We are 55 minutes, so I'm going to have to listen back to this and make sure it's not just complete drivel, but hopefully I've done a little bit of a stitch with me. I've done a little bit of stuff. I've managed to put in that bit, gone along here and put the bottom on this pomegranate. Wahoo, hey? I'll get this bit filled in, so hopefully when I show you this on my next floss tube, I'll be able to say, look, filled in all this bit here, which is page 6. Which when I finish across to this side here will be 2/3, I think. 4, 8, 12. Yes, there's 12 pages. So this page here goes on down. Yes, this page will come down to about here, because this is right at the top of page 6 here. That's the top of page 6, so the page will come to about there, and then there's one more. Yeah, there's one more page to go on the bottom. That's about right. Righto, guys. Hopefully this isn't complete drivel. I'll either upload this tonight or I might upload it tomorrow, so you might get it on Saturday. But if you have watched me through, hopefully you've managed to do some better stitching than I have. And I'll see you for my floss tube next Thursday. Bye bye for now.